Now, before I offer an explanation and talk to Pauline about this, my understanding is that the major parties have voted against Pauline Hanson's very, very sensible bill. In an outstanding speech this morning, she explained a very simple point, that in a massively resource-rich country, and we've made this point many times before, like Australia, we, the taxpayer, get very little benefit from the mining of those resources. Pauline Hanson quoted Norway, with a population of fewer than 6 million people, sitting next to the resource-rich North Sea. And Pauline Hanson argued, and I quote, "The country's leaders decided long ago to make sure Norway's people who own these resources benefited from their extraction and sale. As a result," she said, "Norway now has the largest sovereign wealth fund in the world, with a value approaching 2 trillion Australian dollars. That's more than $350,000 for every person in Norway," unquote. And then in her speech, she dwelt on Australia. And remember, the major political parties have opposed this bill. Let's bring Pauline in here right now. Pauline, good evening again. Thank you for your time. As you say, we've got resources of minerals and energy that make those of Norway seem insignificant. And our national anthem salutes this. You said this in your speech: "Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare." Pauline, that's as plain as day. But as you said, we've got enough iron ore to meet the world's need for centuries. We've some of the world's largest reserves of aluminium, uranium, gold, copper and coal. And just as with Norway, these resources ought to be, or they are, the property of the Australian people. So where do we go from there, Pauline?
Alan, I have been trying and trying. The last time I put this up on the floor of Parliament was March in 2021. We have had no success with it whatsoever. The parliamentarians voted down, the two major political parties voted this down. I'm absolutely disgusted with them. For the resources that we have, we are not reaping the benefits that should enhance this nation and give people the wealth that we deserve. They've allowed the multinationals to come in and rape this nation of its resources, and they don't pay tax. As I mentioned in my speech, these companies, Chevron, and some of them have made over $54 billion in this and paid no tax whatsoever. It's disgraceful.
Let's just take that step by step. Basically, you first said, which is correct, you said we should be rolling in the riches derived from the extraction and sale of these resources, because we are most probably the most resource-rich country in the world. But as you said, just when families are struggling with the rising cost of living, government debt's 85% of GDP, there's a housing crisis, which I've already alluded to earlier in the program, where many families, you said, are sleeping in their cars or on the street. We've got some of the highest energy bills in the world. Pauline made all these points today. A crippling shortage of energy in a country which is resource-rich that other countries can only dream of. Now, all of this money that we should be getting should be going to a public health system, you said, which cannot cope. We've got increasing poverty. We've got a massive welfare bill. And as a result of all of that, here are, you said, multinationals taking our resources and paying very little in return. Why did these people vote against your amendment to the bill?
They're worried about the sovereignty. The coalition opposition basically said, well, look, you're putting in something into this bill which meant in the benefit of Australia. You know, that's what they're saying. So any decisions that are made of leasing or retention leases or deals that would be done must be in the best interest or the benefit of the Australian people. They argued the point that I could be opening up a door to
That's rubbish.
Allegations
That's
or
rubbish.
legislation against climate change activists and that type of thing. It was a weak excuse, Alan.
Yes.
They talk about you're going to stop investment in Australia. You're not going to stop investment in Australia. You just worry about it because we're not making anything out of it. So what do you got to lose? We've got to lose absolutely nothing.